So it's infuriating, and I hate it, especially when I feel like it's against people when you're not in the Jewish community. Like, it's not as easy for you to defend yourself. It's like, if you're labeled as anti-Semitic, it's like, it just, the stink gets on you, even when it's not true. And it's so frustrating. And our friend Nina Turner has had to deal with that as of late and in the past. And it's exceptionally, I know, very upsetting for people to get called out when it's not even true.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's hurtful too, especially since, you know, at times I have spoken out against anti-Semitism before many of my Republican colleagues have, you know, when there were neo-Nazis running around saying things like death to Jews all across the state of Florida. Like, I spoke out, and to be labeled that when, you know, I just wanted peace in a time where, like, all rationale is kind of gone out the window as it relates to what's going on with those people that are, like, losing their lives, who had absolutely nothing to do with Hamas, right? Like, they have no say in where they were born, and, like, now their lives have forever been turned upside down. And so it's just not right.
So I just wanted to ask you, you had heard I briefly mentioned, and the fact that it was my representative, I know, that put forth that initiative, that statewide version that declares that anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. And that passed, right?
Yeah, that passed. And they actually, though, they brought it back up today, changing some portions of the bill that we didn't like, and I did vote for it, because they took out, like what you're stating, like they took out our inability to criticize Israel, and it was another portion that they took out. And so they worked with many of our, you know, Muslim brothers and sisters to help, like, get that bill right.
What bothers me the most about all of it, and I've said it many times, whether or not I agree with what they're doing, I look around the state of Florida, and I'm sure you agree, Angie, there's a lot of important things that could be being worked on that need to be done, that it really just pisses me off to no end, quite honestly, that my state legislators, who really have nothing to do with Israel or its policies or its governance, are actually wasting their time having to deal with this bullshit when we have a housing crisis and a flooding crisis and all this shit.
Insurance crisis.
Right. Well, that's what I mean by, like, housing. So that's what frustrates me the most. It's like, why are we sitting there? Why are we legislating what is and is not anti-Semitism instead of just helping people, you know, live? That's what pisses me off.
Yeah. So there was also a bill today that we had to deal with. It was basically a stop woke bill regarding educators being trained on or having conversations about not just critical race theory, but just systemic racism and just all the things in general. And so, like, it got so heated and spirited debate. They called it spirited debate. And I want to say, like, it was disrespectful debate coming from you.
Wait, go back. Please go back. Wait, you froze for a second. Something happened. Before we go live then. I'm sorry you froze. I'm sorry about that.
No, I'm sorry.
No, that stuff pisses me off too, just so you're aware. It's the same, I put it in the same bucket. We're doing bullshit wedge issues to keep everybody fighting amongst themselves, and meanwhile, we have food insecurity and a housing crisis.
But listen, this is what got me was, it was like your Randy Fines and your Alex Andrades, the ones that, you know, speak out against anti-Semitism, but, like, won't allow Black people to say that we're feeling marginalized and attacked. And so I'm like, yo, like, what's up with that?
Yeah, well, Jews like to play the victim card, and I'm gonna just say, and then I will let you go off on whatever tangent you want to go off.
I'm not going off on a tangent.
I mean, I know that I cut you off, but I'm saying that, like, this whole concept that we've somehow established that we're such victims that you're not allowed to criticize anything or whatever is infuriating to me, because Jews are not victims, Jews are survivors. And what really pisses me off is that even when we're talking about anti-Semitism, we're talking about things like hate speech and hate crimes. Those are individual things. Hate crimes need to be prosecuted. I get that. Personally, I don't have a problem with hate speech. I like to know who my bigots are. So like that's not a problem for me. But tell me where there is some sort of systemic oppression of Jews. That's what I want to know, because this is what really pisses me off. That when we're talking about the Black racist, anti all whatever Black issues, it's not because people say mean things and paint mean shit. It's because it's a system. And I don't get how Jews get off on claiming any sort of victimhood. That's what I don't understand. Am I missing something?
So I can't speak for the Jewish community. I can only speak for being a Black woman. And so I just would love it and appreciate it if, you know, like Representative Jock today, he called wokeness like garbage and rubbish. And I'm like, how is it that us telling you how we feel and how detrimental slavery has been, because you know they put it in the curriculum that slavery benefited Black people. Like how is it that us as Black people telling you that slavery was a detriment, and it's still a detriment, like, to us based on the system that has been created from it, right? Like, how can you say that's garbage and rubbish? Like, I would hope that someone like Randy Fine and your Alex Andrades would, you know, be empathetic to that type of thing, but like they're not.
Yeah.
No, self-serving as always, but you're doing something that's not self-serving. You're actually serving, which is nice, because that's what you're supposed to be doing.
I feel bad for all you on defense.
So,
it's so sad.
For those of you who do not know, Angie Nixon is the representative who is responsible for the bookstore coming to North Jacksonville, which will house banned books and focus on Black history. God forbid. Oh, how could you?
I wish we had something like that here. I would be happy to donate to something like that. Is that something that's like a charity thing, or is it just something that?
So yes, for sure. So definitely, we have. It's not only a bookstore. It's also a coffee. It's going to be a coffee shop and a community hub. It's an organizing hub, so that we can actually work towards building power within Northwest Jacksonville and Jacksonville in general. And so we already have some organizing groups, some community organizing groups that have come and utilize the space. We've also partnered with a statewide group called the Black History Project. They come in and they teach middle schooler and high school students like true Black history. And then there's some groups that work with returning citizens, helping them learn how to get their rights restored. We have some other organizations working. Well, they were working towards trying to get a police accountability board, a public safety board, but they also just work to try to hold the police accountable. And so I'm super excited about Cafe Resistance Bookstore and the environment that we're creating, and the resistance to fascism and racism and xenophobia and all the things, right? I'm excited about what we're creating in that space.
You're going to have a kids section, yes?
Of course. I have 5 children, so of course. And one of them being 3 years old, we're definitely going to have a kids section.
Fellow comrades in battle. I love that. We're raising revolutionaries. Look, you know what, though? Seriously, this is how it happens. These people, if something is banned, then I want to read it, because obviously it's banned for a reason. Are you in the county? One of our counties somewhere banned the dictionary.
No, not us. That was more so the Panhandle, I think.
Okay, it's not a selling point of Florida, and I'm really curious as to what it was in the dictionary. See, my theory is that it's queer. They have a real problem with everything having to do with queer. I'm just saying.
Yeah, when I found out they banned the dictionary, I was like,
okay, that's how you okay, that's
The goal is to combat the lack of diversity in literature and support educational programs for children in the area.
This is important.
So for those of you who do not know, Jacksonville is another one of the cities of America that has the haves and the have-nots. And of course, it always falls on the communities of color that struggle mightily, especially on the west side of the city compared to the east side, where all the wonderful waterfront money tends to fall. And so being able to have community get-togethers in combination of, again, you could look at it as like a Barnes and Noble type of style where you have the book section and the coffee section, but also the learning section. This is going to be very beneficial because, as you said, when people are asking, why do we need something like this? I don't know. Why don't you ask the legislators that don't want us to have these things?
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.